Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, and today I'm going to be talking about the 2004 Russian urban fantasy film Night Watch. And as part of that conversation, I'm also going to briefly address its 2006 sequel Day Watch, but that'll be at the end of the video. And so until then, all further plot elements and commentary relates only to the first film, Night Watch. And Night Watch's introduction explains that since the beginning of the time, there have been others, humans endowed with supernatural abilities, and for just as long, these others have been divided between the forces of light and dark. In medieval times, the armies of both sides met by chance and a great battle ensued. Seeing that neither side had a clear advantage, the two factions called a truce, and each side commissioned a sort of quasi-police force to ensure that this truce was observed. The light side's force was called the Night Watch, and the dark side's force was called the Day Watch. We then jump to modern-day Moscow, where we meet Anton, a seemingly ordinary Russian citizen, who learns that he is in fact one of the others, and he subsequently joins the Night Watch. While performing his duties, Anton encounters several portents that are linked to an ancient prophecy of an immensely powerful other that will end the stalemate between light and dark, but will be more likely to join the dark. Anton sets out to find this prophesied individual, hoping to locate them and encourage them to side with the light. But the forces of the dark are clever and powerful, and his mission will not be an easy one. So Night Watch was a massive commercial success in its native Russia, and it secured worldwide distribution off the back of that success. It attracted considerable praise for its visual style and imaginative special effects, and has been highly praised by well-known Western directors such as Quentin Tarantino and Danny Boyle. Now, do I think the film lives up to the hype? Well, not really, no. It's not terrible, and it does certainly have some good points, but it also has some profound weaknesses. Still, let's start with the positives. And Night Watch certainly deserves the praise it got for its visuals. It has a strong and memorable visual aesthetic with some clever scene construction. This strength shows itself in a number of ways. The Moscow setting is well realised, and it is used to great effect. For instance, it's got a dank, gloomy atmosphere that hangs over the film and contrasts well with the energetic, imaginative action sequences and visually dynamic special effects. Lots of consideration has even been given to the visual presentation of the English subtitles. For instance, in a scene where a character is underwater while battling a vampire, the captions appear as blood-red text that dissolves as blood would dissolve in water. And that same kind of attention to the film's visual design and atmosphere continues throughout the movie. It is visually a really, really interesting and entertaining piece of work. On the other hand, the film's narrative has issues. For instance, it follows two separate plot threads, both of which impact on Anton. The first is the prophesied other who might end the truce and trigger open warfare between light and dark. The second is the attempts of a neophyte vampire to feed for the first time, and Anton's efforts to thwart her. Now, how these plot threads are resolved is kind of where the movie falls down for me. One thread ends wrapped up with a whimper, not a bang, while the other's resolution is textbook "tune in for the sequel" kind of stuff, neither of which is very satisfying. The film also suffers from a lack of developed characters. We get introduced to several agents on both sides of the light-dark divide, but we never really get a chance to know them beyond the plot points they're there to fulfill. And that's a best-case scenario. One character is introduced to be Anton's bodyguard, and quite a big deal is made of the fact too, and then they never really do any bodyguarding. So overall, I think Night Watch is something of a case of style over substance. But, to be fair, it does have a lot of style. Now, the film's 2006 sequel Day Watch, on the other hand, is simply a hot mess. After making the main plot of Night Watch about the coming of the Great Other and their choice between light and dark, this movie blithely kicks off by invalidating the entire main premise of the original. Not only does it announce that there is not just one but two prophesied Great Others, it also introduces something called the Chalk of Fate, which allows you to undo the mistakes of your past. Now, if that chalk sounds like a big ret reset button, well, that's because it's a big ret reset button. That's exactly what it is. Now, a film that's all about hitting reset can work. X-Men Days of Future Past has exactly that premise, and it worked fine. But this movie is no Days of Future Past. For one thing, we're treated to some incredibly convoluted plan from the bad guy. But this plan makes no sense, given the way the first movie ended. And this film's actually, the end of the first movie wasn't the do-or-die moment it claimed to be, is presumably an attempt to kind of cover up for the fact that, it doesn't make sense for him to be doing what he's doing. For another, this is a film where there's lots and lots of activity by all sorts of characters, all of which seems largely pointless. Either the activity doesn't work, or it was never meant to work, or, frankly, it becomes hard to care about what's happening on screen when none of it seems to matter. If you're going to watch these films, I suggest sticking to just Night Watch. It has enough going on that it's worth seeing once, I think. But if you carry on, I think you're probably likely to be disappointed by Day Watch. But that's up to you. Next time, we're going to look at the 1942 B-feature Lady Gangster, which packs a whole lot of frequently absurd plot into its scant 62-minute runtime. But that's next time. Until then, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it.